I've had my share of errors, unforced and otherwise.
Paddles up and welcome to episode 28 of the Pickleball Gurus podcast. I'm Randy Manaply and I'm here with Prem Carnot, the Pickleball Guru, the world's premier pickleball coach, and author of two best-selling books, Smart Pickleball and Drop Shot Till You Drop.
Hi, Guru Nation. Welcome again to our podcast.
In this episode, we welcome Mike Brannon, author of the book Pickleball and the Art of Living, The Power of Positive Dinking. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Randy.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Prem.
So the first question I have for you, Mike, is how's the eye?
Oh, you know about the eye. Yeah. So I was coaching up a young 20-something-year-old guy who cracks the ball really hard, and apparently he really picked up on how to hit the forehand well, because he smashed one, tipped off the top of my paddle, and it was late in the day, and I'd taken my sunglasses off, and it hit me directly on the eyeball. Didn't hit any of the orbital bone, and ended up tearing apart my iris. So now my pupil's stuck wide open, and it's, the vision's blurred, and nighttime's kind of exciting because all the lights look like fireworks. But unfortunately, I think it's a permanent condition. It goes with the rest of my broken down body, so I'm kind of used to that stuff. So it's all good. But you get used to it. The brain adapts, and just a quick shout out to everybody out there: wear your glasses.
That's right. All you kids out there, wear your glasses. Some type of protection out there. Now, I would describe your book as a self-help book disguised as a pickleball book, or vice versa. What inspired you to write this book, and why pickleball?
And you're exactly right, because the book started out more as my philosophy of life and stuff I was just concerned about communicating. And when I came back home, I ran it by a couple of people in the book business. They said, "Hey, we love your writing. It's funny. It's sharp. Unfortunately, you're kind of invisible, and you don't have any kind of a platform." So I had one paragraph in the book about pickleball, just using it as an example to make a point. And they said, "How about that pickleball thing?" And I said, okay. So I rewrote the whole book, and I used pickleball as a metaphor for life, and just as an entree to get people, sneak them into the side door while I, talk about stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah. So the first and longer part of the book is the self-help portion. Give me your top 3 tips for living a better life.
To live a better life, it obviously depends on the person. There's not one template that fits all. But in general, what has worked for me from trial and error, and I've had my share of errors, unforced and otherwise. Number one is to just be present. And I know that's been said a number of different ways, but I think a lot of people get caught up in their life situation. They kind of deny what's actually real. And once you actually accept that is what is going on, then you're able to step by step take on your life situation more genuinely, more effectively. The other 2 things probably would be just to let things go, to accept, which is all part of the present moment as well. With the pickleball guru in the house, I used to teach world religions, so I'm very much into Hinduism and Buddhism, and Prem, you took my name I was going to use. I mean, what can I tell you?
You were 10 years later.
I know, what are you going to do? But no, I think acceptance, kindness, all of those things, and then on a practical level, it's just about everything starts with self-assessment. I think a lot of people cruise through life and say, why am I not doing what I want to do or getting what I want to get out of life? And you got to take a look inward first instead of just keep looking outward for answers. And once you get your inner game down, whether it's pickleball or life, then everything tends to flow a bit better. So that's a nutshell for you.
Okay, it all starts to fall in place after all that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually, a few years ago, wrote an article. I think it was just close to a national championship. And I remember writing an article about just look into yourself and look into how you interact with yourself on a tournament. And your interactions with your partners, if you roll your eyes or it's not more about what your partner does or does not do, but look into yourself, and you'll see a lot of characteristics of things which are representation of who you are at that given moment, which are what is reflecting outside on the court. And that's more about you. It's not about the winning part, it's not about the losing part, it's about who you are as a person. And those are all reflected out in the different types of emotions we bring out, because um, refusing to see inside rather than and looking it from outside in rather than from inside out. And it's very core to my coaching perspective. It generally is like, this is one of the famous questions I always get in the coaching. People say they would love what they hear from me, and then they will say, yeah, but the thing is, when I go back to my clubs, I am playing with this person, and this person is not doing exactly like what you have been telling me, and what am I supposed to do? And my answer is very simple to them. It says, like, you only have responsibility on your game, no one else. So just focus on your part of your game. That's all you can do. If you and I, the example I often give is like, if you have children, like I do, you really want your children to do the same with what you want to do, but it never happens, does it? So it's the same way. You can't expect your partners or your opponents to do what you would like to do, but be the best version of you whenever you are on the court, and in life as much as on a pickleball court, and it'll lead you to where you want to be, rather than looking at what others can do to make you happy. And that But just play your game. That's all you are responsible only for your part of your game, and you can continue that.
Prem, you could have written the book. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you probably haven't read my book yet, because of that book I do a lot of that nuggets. Part of that is generally the way I actually look my life into, also the same way I look.
Yeah, I mean, it's very powerful stuff. And a lot of time, the interesting thing is you'll find people listening to what you just said there, and everyone's nodding their head and go, yeah, I know. But it's putting it into action. And one of the things I write about extensively in the book is the joy of discipline. It's like, when you think about it, discipline has such a negative connotation. Like, I got disciplined for doing something bad. I'm in detention at school, whatever, right? Drill sergeants discipline you. But when you live with discipline, it can be a very joyful thing. When you go to the end of the day and you've been disciplined about what you've eaten, how you've treated others, your mindset, being present, being loving, that takes discipline. I mean, because we're easily distracted, and there's more to distract us now in this world than there's ever been before, more at our fingertips. So discipline is even more in short supply. And the people that live that way have a leg up in business, relationships, and pickleball. So it carries over to everything, and it really is a joyful thing to live with discipline. Not without fun. I'm a big fun guy, but discipline can definitely be a big part of living well.
I agree. I totally agree. And I mean, Randy will tell you when he's been around me sometimes, but like I have a very disciplined, like 4:30 morning meditation. I do that for years, and that's like a discipline, and it actually flows into my day, which allows me to be more self-connected to start with, and then which allows me to connect with everything else. And that takes discipline, and it's not work. It's more a joyful presence of being yourself.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, Prem's going ahead and jumping ahead on me here, because the next thing I'll have on my list is a couple of things that you advocate is yoga and meditation. And
Yes.
Prem is pretty fanatical about doing his daily meditation and yoga.
Yeah. Yes. I'll let Mike take the cue on this. I think a lot of my listeners have heard me say this many times, so I'll let Mike answer that question.
Yeah, and considering, I know that you come from a place where you're very experienced with it, and I just want to say that one of the things that I advocate as well is you don't have to immediately go to the ashram and get out the orange robe and go for it. It can be very incremental. You can just get into this stuff by dipping your toe in the water a bit. And so for instance, I don't do a full yoga routine in the morning, but I do a stretching routine. It takes me about 10 minutes. It's on my website, and it has done so many incredible things for my health. I was a competitive basketball player, lifted weights a lot, and then I worked my butt off in my business. And so between just sitting at a desk and then beating my body up really hard, my body, my back especially, broke down in my 30s, and I couldn't move. This stretching, yoga, awareness of my body brought me back. It's given me 25 years now of incredible health. If I can just keep wearing my sunglasses, and the meditation part gets your mind in the right place. And again, there's this little book I refer to in my book called 8-Minute Meditation. So if you're a busy person, I understand you got things going on, you got responsibilities, family, work, whatever. But if you can afford yourself 10 minutes to stretch and 8 minutes to meditate, just try it on for a while, see what happens. You might be amazed, and don't be impatient. Sometimes it takes a little time, and sometimes you have a session of whatever it is, and you go, well, that was but it accumulates, and all of a sudden you find yourself responding instead of reacting. You respond from a higher place. You have less pain, and all those things make you a better, happier person, not just for you, but for everybody in your life.
I can't agree any more than that. It's totally true. You can see that happening in every part of your life. As far as rituals, I said, like, I'm sure I'm going to check your website out for that 8-minute video you're talking about.
Yeah.
I often say is like meditation can be anything, as long as you are dedicated to it. Like, I have I do meditation obviously as a practice, but like menial things which you might think is menial, like I love washing dishes. And washing dishes for me is like meditative. It's like I can switch off everything and I just can wash dishes. And anything can be used as a meditative practice, as long as you're disciplined and focused on doing what you are in that given moment, not thinking about anything else, and just enjoying that particular instant. And so those are moments I always say is like, you could do anything. And I often quote Osho, Rajneesh, a spiritual leader in the past, who would always say, like, you could do anything. Like, you could read a book, but if you're actually reading a book, focused, concentrated, that can be meditative. Eating every mouthful of food you're eating from your plate could be a meditative experience. It could go to anything. He said, like, having a wholehearted sexual interaction could be totally meditative. There's no one way of doing it. It's not about this position to be meditative. If that's what floats your boat, then do that. But any experience can be meditative, as long as it's focused and wholeheartedly present at that given moment. That's my take to it.
Well, I'm gonna say one more thing and agree with you, and then I want to. We've got to disagree about something and get some sparks going here. I'm boring myself here, man. Come on, dude. But the last thing I want to say, to agree with you again, I can't help it because you happen to be right. I think is that like the eating part, mindful eating is one of the great pleasures in life. You think about it sometimes, like you're eating and you've got your book out and you're just shoveling stuff in your mouth, and then if you stop and actually enjoy the texture, the feel of it, the sensation, I mean, and that applies to everything. And even if you're, playing pickleball, again, can be, I mean, when you're in that place of unconscious competence, in that flow, that is a very meditative thing. You're not thinking, okay, the ball's over to my left, I need to move my feet, and now I need to get my paddle here, and now I need to hit no, you're just flowing. And that's one of the great joys to me of sport, is that when you get into that flow state, you're not thinking about your problems. You're not worried about politics or any of that other crap. You're just out there doing. And when you're doing, you're being. And that's all I got to say about that.
When you're doing, you're being. That's well put. That's a very good quote. In fact, talk in tennis or in any sports for that matter, when they are in the zone, that's the being nature of a player when they're in the zone, because they don't think about anything else. It's just in the flow. There's nothing outside and nothing which is interrupting them. They're just in the zone. And that's the being nature of when they are in that. And everyone strives to be that being nature every time and every moment. And it's the discipline you talk about, which will lead you there.
So true.
All right, so let's move on to some pickleball stuff. You're also a pickleball instructor, Mike. And I
Yes.
heard you mention that you really emphasize keeping your paddle up and out.
Yes. Up and out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's revolutionary, but it's really interesting. Like the other day, I was gonna play in a game, and I saw some people taking up the game for the first time in the court next to me. My friends hadn't arrived yet, so I saw them, and I just had to walk over and say, guys, just one thing, you know, keep that paddle in front of you. You know, don't let it get behind you. And even as you get into to upper levels, people have those habits from the first time they picked up the game, and unless they've had good instruction from someone like Prem, they're going to their default move is when something comes at you, you move back. It's like ingrained in us, right? That's how humans survive. So it's not all bad. But with a pickleball, you're letting the ball play you rather than you playing the ball. So that's just one of the essential things I try to communicate to my students. And in the improvement in their game, that's one of those things, like, you know, as you get to higher levels, your improvement is much more incremental. But when you're at the you know, taking up the game, or just at the beginner level, and you make that one change, it's amazing. You watch their eyes light up and they go, oh, this isn't that as hard as I thought it was. So I think it's just essential. Your paddle position really determines so much about your success in this game.
Yeah, and I think Prem actually mentions the game will improve by 80% or something like that if they move from keeping the paddle down to moving it up. Is that the correct percentage that you give the people at your clinic?
Yeah, I normally say, like, I say no matter what skill level you are, 80% of your game will improve from where you are to wherever you want to be. Excuse me.
And Prem, when you talk about keeping your paddle up, do you mean in the ready position as you're awaiting the ball, or what do you mean by up?
Up in ready position, up and out in terms of you know, protecting a hard ball coming at you. The best example I can give you as a former basketball player you are, when someone's throwing a ball at you, you have your hands out to catch the ball and you bring the ball in towards you. And I say the same thing about, like, when someone is, you know, coming at 100 miles an hour speed, or at least in your head, you think it's coming at 100 miles an hour speed. If you have your paddle up and out, it allows you to bring that ball in so that you can actually block the ball rather than staying there, like just simply like holding the paddle will not do it either. But I also make it very clear, keeping your paddle up and being ready are two different things. Because sometimes I'll be dinging to someone and they'll have their paddle up and they'll still get smashed at. I said, what does that really mean? Because you haven't really been focused. So you're not been actually watching the ball. You're actually seeing me ding to your partner, and you might have your paddle up, but you are not ready. So the other part of being ready is about tracking the ball, you know, the path, so that you're always ready. So being ready and having the paddle up are two different things. People can have their paddle up and not be ready, and they'll still get smashed at. So that's one of the things when I say up is like minimum chest level high, up and out. Out for obviously to deflect hard ball coming at them.
Awesome.
And I asked earlier for the 3 tips for giving a better life, or living a better life. Give us your top 3 pickleball tips, and you're not allowed to use paddle up as in one of the examples.
Oh, come on now. That's not fair. That's my number 1. Okay, I'm going to give you tips 2 through 4. And
there you go.
Okay, I guess 1 is to get yourself in position to execute the same shot over and over. I see you don't need to be out of position when, you know, sometimes people hit the ball in a place where you've got to lunge for it. I get that, but a lot of times we just get lazy or whatever, and we don't realize that if you can get yourself, if you watch one of the players like Federer and Nadal play tennis, and you never see them out of position. When that ball comes to them, they are in the same basic spot. They're only having to execute one shot over and over and over. And anything in life that you can do repetitively, whether it's in business or in sports or anything, if you just specialize in doing one thing, if you get in that same position every time, you're going to find that your errors go way down. And pickleball is about not making errors on some level. So get in the right position would be absolutely crucial. I guess another thing I would say would be a short to long stroke is important to me. I think a lot of people, either they've watched tennis on TV or something, or just, again, that natural movement is they bring the paddle back too far. And again, like with the dink, for instance, I advocate no backswing whatsoever. I go out there, I meet the ball, and I just push it and redirect it. I want to get that paddle out. I guess it's paddle out in front again, but that's just the extreme of a short to long stroke, well, short to long swing, because there's a very short backswing. There's no backswing. And even when you get back and hitting your ground strokes and so forth, you want to start, the longer your backswing is, the more bad things can happen on the way to the ball.
Right.
So let's just keep that short to long is extremely important. And I guess the final one, it really, to me, it's much more mental than physical, but it really is about, playing your point, enjoying your game, and then letting it go and going on to the next point, just enjoying who you're with. No matter how good you are technically, if you're not having a good time, then what the hell are you doing out there? And I think that's one of the things that, sometimes we can get caught up in the technical aspects of the game. But damn it, come on now. A lot of us are older too. I'm not pointing at you guys, but I'm pointing at me. And you know what? Enjoy every moment. Just really, really get a kick out of it. If you miss a shot, laugh. It maybe in a tournament that's a little bit harder, but most of us aren't playing in tournaments. And it's just, I find that even some of the beginner players, I look at them and say, hey, these guys have figured it out more than a lot of the advanced players, because they're out there laughing.
Yeah.
So let's enjoy ourselves, kids.
That's right.
Now, really
And
trying to integrate the two parts of the book. How do you deal with problem partners? I guess, in other words, that person on the pickleball courts.
Yeah, the problem partners in any aspect of life is an issue we all face. I've been in business partnerships that have definitely caused some hair loss, and it's just it is part of life is a series of partnerships. And so when you get on the court, let's try to apply that wisdom. And you're especially lucky on a pickleball court, because usually, say if you're playing open play and you've got a partner you've never met before, and Prem has taught you all of the good stuff on how to play pickleball perfectly and move to the net and your position on the court, and your partner's out there basically picking his nose. He's not moving. He's sending up lobs. You're getting crushed by overheads. You've only got about 10 to 15, well, in this case, maybe 5 minutes to play this game with this person. And you're not going to change them in that time. All you can do is just be accepting and kind, tap paddles with them, and find another game, find another partner, and just learn your lesson. I mean, it's just, again, you can't control other people to that extent. So if you have a problem partner, don't try to teach them the game of pickleball in the 10 minutes you have together. That's not going to happen. You could make a suggestion if they're open to it, but you just got to let it go and move on to greener pastures. Don't let it ruin your day. You keep doing what you can do, which is to control what you do.
Excellent. Prem, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think I've already said this one before. You
Yeah.
only control what you can control. And
That's right.
And I'm sure, Randy, you can quote what I always quote to you. What is that?
Just go have fun and play pickleball?
Control the controllables.
Oh, control the controllables. Okay.
That's awesome. Hey, that's quite the life advice too, by the way, my man.
Oftentimes in our business with Randy and I, when we talk, and there are things and situations that look a little offhand for him, I always tell him, like, control the controls. You can't control what you can't control. And so it's something which I always tell him in our life work we are doing in the coaching business. but also in person is like, don't make it serious. It's just supposed to be fun, and just have fun with it.
Can't go too far wrong with that. That's one of the things
Yeah.
that I definitely mentioned in the book is the Serenity Prayer. You know, some people might consider it trite. It's on posters, whatever. It's the truth. I mean, you know, to accept what you can, you know, and change what you can. The wisdom to know the difference. That's controlling the controllables. Or
right.
as I quote the great statesman Frank Costanza from Seinfeld, "Serenity now."
Serenity now. Yeah, he had a little bit different take on the Serenity Prayer, I think.
Randy is a big movie TV buff, so
Oh, great.
I completely have no idea what he talks about oftentimes, because I don't have a TV. I've never watched TV for many number of years. I don't even remember when I even possessed a TV. So
well, that's the reason you've done well in life. Unfortunately, I've had my share of the boob tube, but yeah, just for your or anybody else's edification, Frank Costanza is the uptight dad of one of the characters in the show, and he's trying to be serene, and so he's, you know, serenity now, and he's you know, practicing, and things go out of hand, so he just starts to scream it, you know, as he gets out of control. So,
okay,
I think we can all relate to that feeling, but it was pretty funny to watch.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Mike. How can people find your book, and what's up next for you?
You can find it on Amazon, the usual place. It's called Pickleball in the Art of Living, and the Power of Positive Dinking. And obviously you can find it there. I also have the audio book available, the Kindle, and so forth. You can also go to my website, mikebrannon.com. Brannon is spelled Branon. And there I've also got features and blogs, advice, and hopefully a little bit of humor, puppy pictures, you know, just a lot of fun stuff.
Okay.
And next up on my queue is, well, I'm headed to down to La Paz near Cabo tomorrow for a week of pickleball with 30 of my good friends.
Oh, nice.
We're busting out of the quarantine and headed down to a place, and we're going to make it our own and just have a blast.
that's sweet.
And then on the constructive side, I'm co-writing a book with Jennifer Lucor that we're working on right now, which will be dedicated towards senior pickleball players directly. You know, how to deal with you know, playing your best game, having a great time, and dealing with the aging process at the same time. It's a way to welcome new pickleball players to the sport, and to take those that already play it and give you a laugh or two, and maybe a tip or two that might resonate with you.
Excellent.
That's so sweet.
I'll put some links up in the show notes to your website and to your book, just so people have easier access to them. And Prane, you just got back from Costa Rica. While Mike's going to Mexico, you just got back from Costa Rica. Tell us about your experience there and where you're off to next.
It's wonderful. We had 2 weeks of classes in Costa Rica, in this northern part of the country, and it was on the Pacific side. It was really gorgeous weather. Really great number of people who joined both the groups, and had lots of fun with pickleball. A lot of a lot of people had light bulbs go off, not only on the pickleball court, but also I think for themselves. And I actually am glad to say that a lot of them are actually, I will see them in different other boot camps, which we run, Randy and you and I, in the future. So we'll be happy to see these folks back again and in one of our boot camps. So the boot camp experience was great. It was, being a summer location, you know, with lots of fruit trees which are on fruition, like the mango trees and the sapotes or the chiku fruit, and cashew fruits, and so on. And so it was a fun experience for the participants as well as me. I had a blast, and looking forward to being back there next year. As far as the next trip goes, I'm heading out to Richmond, Virginia next month, and we have a couple of clinics. We have a boot camp and a boot camp express. Is that right, Randy?
Yes, the boot camp is sold out, but there's plenty of spaces in the clinics, and there's also some space left in the boot camp express.
Can you tell me the difference so that people understand what the difference is between the clinic, boot camp, and boot camp express in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, the clinic is for more people. It's for generally your newer players or players that want to work on their fundamentals. Generally, it's for your 2 to 3.5 players. There's a few more people in the clinics. They're up to like 24 to 36 players. While the boot camp is limited to 8 players. Like I mentioned, that's sold out. But then there's Boot Camp Express. That's kind of like a mini boot camp or a maxi clinic where there's up to 16 players and you get 12 hours of instruction as opposed to 15 hours of instruction at the boot camp. We bill it as all the thrills, but none of the frills for the Boot Camp Express. So the pricing is a little bit different. You can get it for $497 as opposed to the boot camp, which generally runs at $1497. So come on out to Richmond. And then after that, there's only 4 spaces left for Charlotte in August, 4 spaces left in Denver in September. So all the boot camps are starting to fill up. We have Sacramento in October, 2 camps in Tucson in October, and 3 in Vero Beach in January and February. Clinics are also available in Charlotte, Denver, Sacramento, and Tucson. Links available in the show notes and by clicking the little red read more link if you're watching this on the YouTubes. And finally, if you haven't done so already, I'll encourage you to head on over to pickleballguru.com and become a member of Guru Nation. There's no cost whatsoever to join, meaning free. And speaking of free, when you sign up, you will receive the brand new toolkit, 5 tools you need to take your game to the next level. You'll also receive the 5 biggest mistakes racket players make and how to correct them. And you'll receive the Guru ratings and goals guide. All of this absolutely free. Can't come out to a clinic or boot camp, but still want to support the Guru? There's a link to our gear page where you can get a Smart Pickleball t-shirt, some core pickleballs, the best and longest lasting balls on the market, a Guru signature paddle, new Pipo pickleball paddles, the best and least expensive pickleball paddles on the market, which you can get from Amazon, and the pickleball cocktail from Jigsaw Health. As I mentioned, links to all of this above is available in the show notes, as well as links to where you can find out more about Mike Brannon. And that's all I have. Mike, Prem, anything y'all would like to add?
Just a question for Prem. Were you in the Guanacaste area in Costa Rica?
That's right. I was in Pinela.
I love that place. So anytime you need a wingman, yo hablo español. I can hang out there with you, and it'd be a blast. I just love it down there.
Yeah, it is beautiful out there, and I was fortunate also. Yeah, as you know, I'm French from my citizenship, but also from my birth. There's a very large group of French diaspora in that area, and actually a very, very strong pickleball community. Very strong. I mean, you're talking about some 4-5s and even 5-0s. And in fact, one of my assistant coach there, Sylvain, is actually he actually played the Texas Open a couple of years ago. He hasn't had much chance to travel around, but he's definitely a pro player, has a lot of talent, and has assisted me through the last few years in my boot camps out there in Costa Rica. And I'm looking forward to working with him a lot because he's a wonderful player, but also a wonderful personality on and off the court. But yes, I would always want more wingmen. So if I'm in that area back again in my old stomping grounds where I started my coaching career in San Diego, I will definitely hook up with you. Or I'm sure there's a lot of wonderful players and friends I know from that area over time. To wrap it up from my side, I will just say, just go have fun on a pickleball court, guys, and remember, it's only pickleball.
It's only pickleball. All right. Thank you guys very much. Take care, Mike. Have fun in Mexico.
Thanks for the time, guys, and much appreciated.
Thank you, Mike.